Hello. Thanks for joining us. Today we're going to be flying the Beechcraft King turboprop, two-engine turboprop, and this is the analog version. So this is not the default Beechcraft King Air that comes with Microsoft Flight Simulator. It is in fact the one that is developed by Black Square, and they've, as you can see, we'll jump into the cockpit for a second. Oh, hit the right button here. There we go. You'll see that it is not a glass cockpit. It is all gauges. They've also taken the time to basically revamp all the systems. They're more accurate, and it all works, and that includes all of the circuit breakers and fuses. So yeah, it's much more complicated than the glass cockpit version, which makes it more challenging, but also more fun. So the goal is to fly out of KBHB, which is Hancock County Bar Harbor Municipal Airport. And as you can see, it is a pretty miserable day. And this is using live weather data, so this is basically what it's like outside right now. I think on a day like this, you probably wouldn't see very many flights, but we're going to. So, and it's going to be a challenge, I suspect. So I'm going to walk through the checklist to get this get the engine started. There is a checklist. There's a manual that comes with this aircraft, and it's a good read. Highly recommend before you jump into this thing. If you really want to come to understand how these systems work, it's just a good idea to read through it. And it does come with a series of checklists, which are very helpful. And I'll show you. This is the engine startup, or at least part of it. And we're going to walk through this and try to get this thing started up. Okay. So, first things first, we are going to check the beacon light. Well, actually, before we do that, we need to back up. We need to actually turn the battery master on. We do that by going down here, and we're going to hide the yoke for a second. And there's a cover, and then there's 3 switches, and one of them on the far left, that is the battery switch. The other 2 are the left and right generator switches. We're not going to bother with those right now. We will in a bit. But right now we're just going to flip the switch for the battery, and that will turn the battery master on. You can see all the annunciation lights, all the warning, master warning, master caution. We're just going to turn those off for now. And as we walk through this checklist and start the engines up, these will eventually, these lights will extinguish. So anyways, we should have on the battery about 23 volts, which we do. Everything else should be dead, which it is. Anyway, so we're going to turn to start the engine. We're going to turn the beacon light on, which is down here, to just let the people know that's outside that we're about to do something here. We're going to check to make sure the prop area is clear, which both sides are. Right now we're just concerned about the right side. Then we're going to check the gen ties, make sure that that is closed. And then we're going to engage the right starter, which is down here. So that's going to engage the starter, and over here, turbine RPM, we want that to hit about 15%, and then we're going to advance first. We should actually do that first, but we're going to advance the condition lever to low idle, and we want to make sure the temperatures don't exceed the limits, which they aren't. And once this, again, this turbine RPM gets over 50%, then we can turn the starter off. Then we're going to hit the right generator. We're going to hit reset and then on, and that's going to turn that on. And we come up here, go to right gen. We now see voltage and amperage that's greater than 0. Okay, so at this point, we're going to move the right condition lever to full idle. And then we're going to start the left engine, going through the same process, basically. So, left starter, on. You can see the light ignition is on. And this should turbine RPM should exceed 13%, which it does, and then we're going to advance the condition lever to low idle. Make sure the temperatures don't exceed max temps, which they aren't. And once it reaches 50%, we'll turn the ignition off for the left engine. And then reset left gen and turn on. And then we should see left gen, which we do. Okay, so we're going to move gen ties to normal. Right generator, we're going to hold the reset. And left generator volts. Yep, good. Okay, let's hold left gen, do the same thing. And right gen, we should see 28, yep. Okay, so the only other thing I can think that we need to do is, let's see here. Let's see, something happened here. We've lost our left engine. And I know why, because we failed to advance low idle, so let's start this up again. That was my bad. And we're going to leave that right there on low idle. We're not going to advance that to high idle quite yet. Once we get off on the taxiway right before takeoff, we'll do that. Alright, we're over 50%. We can turn the ignition off for the left engine. We'll go through this process again. Let's check and see what we got going on here. Yep, everything looks good. Okay, main ties back to normal. Alright, so now we're gonna open up the bleed air valves. Cabin temperature mode is to auto. Cabin master's on. Okay, inverters on. Master power on. We're going to turn nav lights on. We'll turn our recognition lights on. Taxi. We'll turn our landing lights on as well. Okay, so we're going to set our altitude to 6,000. At our approach, we'll have to go down to about 3,000. Which, for this flight, what we're going to end up doing is we're flying out of, looking at this map here, we're flying out of KBHB, and we're going to head north, and we're going to follow a couple waypoints basically into Bangor International on runway 15, and we're going to make use of ILS because I suspect that we're going to have to line the plane up for landing. The weather's not that great, so that's the plan. Okay, so hopping back here to the cockpit. A couple more things we need to do. We need to arm the auto feather and arm oxygen. Turn electric trim on, rudder boost. We'll prepare the flight plan and hit enter over here, get the GPS aligned. Okay, so we're going to be going to Bangor. KBGR. And so what we're going to do is, en route, we're going to go to the following. I'm just going to program a couple waypoints here. Alright, and then we're going to set our approach, loading the procedure for ILS 15, and our transition is going to be RIMTH, RINTH. So we're going to load that approach. We will not activate it. We also need to set our nav radio to 109.5, which is the ILS frequency in Bangor. And we'll go ahead and we'll just set that. Alright, so the only other thing we're going to do is turn the lights on so we can see. It's getting dark. And we're going to test the weather radar. Everything looks good there. I'll put that on standby. I everything looks good. So, let's go ahead and taxi. Oh, actually, no, what we're gonna do first is we gotta calibrate the altimeter, which, there we go, that's done. And, yep, now we're good. Okay, park and brake off, a little bit of throttle. Alright, so we're going to taxi to runway 22. Because of the wind, that's going to be the best runway to take off from. The weather kind of looks like it's got some clearing right there. Unfortunately, I think we're going to be basically heading the other way. Okay, we're going to turn right down the taxiway here. So if I remember correctly, the takeoff speed, we're going to rotate at about, I think it's like 85, 95 knots, somewhere right around there, maybe 100 knots. One thing I noticed, you can damage the engines in this plane, so you have to be careful, especially when you're taking off and you advance the throttle. You can't advance it too much, so that the torque is well over 100, and it will damage your engines. And so I've gotten through a takeoff sequence and realized that I damaged my engines quite a bit, and so not something you want to do. You got to be mindful of. Okay, just get past across this runway right here. So we're going to have a crosswind of about 5 knots. Into Bangor, we're going to have a crosswind of about 6 knots. So we're going to have to take that into account. Visibility is pretty poor, not going to lie. But we'll make do. So I'm not going to bother with comms this flight. So we're not. I'm not flying on a live server or anything like that. So I'm not too concerned about other players or other traffic for that matter. So we're not going to request clearance or anything like that. We're just going to go. will hold short for a second. And park brake on, and we're just going to check things over one more time, make sure we get everything set. I think we are all set. The only thing we're going to do is the flaps need to be down to take off position. And I think that's pretty much it. The only thing I might do is arm the nav for the autopilot, hit vertical speed mode, and we'll set that. Okay, that should be good. And we're going to change that to GPS mode. And we should be good. Now we're good for takeoff. Notice that the rain stopped. Unfortunately, I think we're going to end up flying into that mess again, so I don't know what it's going to look like flying into Bangor, but we are going to be going through it. Alright, let's do this. I did forget. There we go. Almost forgot. The condition lever on the left end should need to go up. That's alright. We're going to rotate, and we're going to go. There we go. Gear up, flaps up, and off we go. Okay, we're gonna pull the throttle back. Like I said last time, we were actually exceeding 100 there, so not great, but it's alright, we're good. We're gonna turn the weather radar on. Okay, we're approaching 4,500 feet altitude. We're going along at about 200 knots. The weather radar is looking clear. Alright, we're about 1,000 feet from our target altitude. pressures are good. RPM's looking good. Good fuel flow. Oil pressure is in range, a little lower than I'd like to see, but feels looking good. Okay, let's take a look at nav map and see where we are. So this is us right here. We're a tad off track, but not too much. Not too bad. We're actually going to be coming up to Bangor International to our right to about our 1 o'clock, and we're going to be just passing that, looping around, and then heading in on the runway 15 approach. So we're actually approaching our max speed here. It's 250 knots, so we're going to slow it down a little bit. I mean, we're really cranking along. So let's slow it down a bit. Reduce our altitude to 5,000. Speed up just a little bit. Got some turbulence for sure. about 19 miles out from our first waypoint, and from there we're going to end up turning right to a 003 heading, and then we're going to basically follow that vector for 6.3 nautical miles, and then we're going to turn again to a heading at 153 for 27.4 nautical miles. That's going to take us right to Bangor, or to the approach. Let's turn the temperature down in the cabin. It's showing 80 degrees. It's a little warm. Turn the vent blower to auto. Outside, we're looking at 21 degrees, so it's actually freezing. Probably should consider, let's see, dot heat, turn that on. Okay, we're maintaining an altitude of 5,000 feet, cruising at about 200 knots. Still on the same vector, heading to our next waypoint in about 6 miles, where we're going to turn right. Notice the landing taxi light is still on here. You can turn the taxi off. Turn the recognition lights off. Strobe should be on. descend down to 3,000 feet. Alright, so we're hitting our first turn here. We're descending to 3,000 feet. Currently heading over Palmyra, Pittsfield area, St. Albans. And we're going to be turning right again here at waypoint Eau Rose. Okay, so we're approaching 3,000 target altitude, turning right to the next waypoint, which is actually the approach. And we actually should start slowing down. Looks like we actually need to activate the approach. Okay, so we're going to drop the landing gear. Off to our left here, that's I believe Dexter Regional. Flaps extended. switch to VLOC 1. We're going to tune into hopefully the ILS. Set to approach mode. Throttle here. I want to try to get to about 100 knots. Okay, let's verify that we have 109.5 tuned in on the nav1 frequency, which it is. And we have the course lined up to 15. And, okay, I'm starting to see getting on track. Should expect to see the glide slope here pretty soon. We're about 7.4 miles out. Got a little bit of a weather disturbance ahead of us. We'll get through it. .5 miles out. Can't see anything. Can just barely make out the ground below. Got a little bit of a clearing. glide slope. So I'm going to, well, I was going to say reduce power, but I think we're going to be good. Boy, it does not look that good ahead of us. Power a little bit. We want to try to maintain our speed at about 105 knots. Altitude, morning light, just ignore that. So far, we're just a bit above the glide slope. Alright, and we're approaching 2,200 feet. We're descending at a vertical speed of about 600 feet per minute. Oh, airspeed's bouncing around a little bit. See the ground. Visibility is not that great though. Cannot see anything ahead of us, including the runway. I think we're gonna end up hitting some precipitation here in a second. Yep, I'm already starting to see it and hear it. Still don't see the runway. Oh, I see the light ahead of us. We're quite a bit above the glide slope. It is turbulent. We could turn the let's see, windshield wipers. Probably don't need them. This and see if we can get it. I think we got it. Touchdown. Well, easy. Nothing to it. Let's see if I can turn off here. We made it. We're gonna stop here short just for a second, just to flaps, turn those up. I'm gonna turn the windshield wipers off. Park those. And yeah, so I think that's it. Okay, we're gonna go taxi. Okay, we're gonna just park over here. Alright, parking brakes on. Alright, now we're gonna shut her down. Which, let's see, we want to auto feather off, inverters off, masters off, beacon, nav light, strobe lights off, P-dot heats off. Bleed air, we're going to turn those off. We're going to change the cutoff. Low idle, we're going to wait a couple. Technically, you're supposed to wait about 2 minutes, but we're not going to. We're just going to wait until the temperature, the ITT temperature stabilizes. And it looks like it pretty much has, and then we're just going to there we go. And battery on. Well there. Well, thanks for flying this evening. Hopefully that was entertaining. Hopefully I'll get some more videos like this published soon. And yeah, anyways, again, thanks for joining us, and have a good evening.